Tonight on News 22.
Militia members at the U.S.-Mexico border are not leaving.
Find out why we're still in the grips of an active flu season.
And a local artist learned an ancient trade and is still keeping it alive.
All that and more on News 22 Tuesday.
Serving southern New Mexico, this is the award-winning KRWG-TV News 22, where news matters.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Gabriel Chavez.
And I'm Melissa Tejas.
Militia members at the U.S.-Mexico border near Sunland Park say they are not leaving.
Police told them to leave because they're trespassing on land belonging to the Union Pacific Railroad. When we were at the border this afternoon, they packed up their vehicles to look for another place where they won't be trespassing. They call themselves the United Constitutional Patriots, and they say they've come to help Border Patrol manage the influx of asylum seekers, leaving their camp today at the foot of Mount Cristo Rey. They feel betrayed.
I serve my country, and I'm being robbed of my constitutional right to protect our border. And now we're being escorted, which is okay. I understand how all that goes. But as a veteran, I feel like they just slapped me in the face.
How do you feel you were treated?
Wrongly.
Elaborate on that.
I have nothing else to say.
They've also sent out word for veterans and others who share their beliefs to come to the border. The commander of the militia group is in jail. The FBI arrested 69-year-old Larry Mitchell Hopkins for being a convicted felon in possession of a firearm. The American Civil Liberties Union says that the group's actions amount to kidnapping.
This is exactly why we don't let private citizens enforce the laws of our country. This is an act of vigilantism, and we need federal, local, and state authorities stepping in as quickly as possible.
New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham says the militia group has not been authorized by any legitimate police agency. The governor goes on to say it's unacceptable that the group would threaten migrant families. The Republican Party has a new candidate for the U.S. Senate. Gavin Clarkson announced earlier today that he will be running for the Republican candidacy for the U.S. Senate seat. This all follows the current senator for New Mexico, Tom Udall, will not be running for a third term. He is the first Republican candidate to announce.
The Democrats now have two candidates running in that race. Maggie Toulouse-Oliver, the current Democratic Secretary of State, is running for the Democratic nomination. In 2018, she won re-election for the Secretary of State. She will be facing Democratic Representative Ben Rehuluhan in the Democratic primary. While those candidates are lining up to get a new job, the city manager of Las Cruces is giving up his own. City manager Stuart Eade resigned on Monday. Eade was hired in 2016 and his contract was renewed in February until June 2020. Eade was investigated in September over allegations of mistreatment of employees and improper procedures. The investigation found no evidence of wrongdoing in the report. Mayor Ken Miyagashima said the City Council will meet Thursday to appoint Assistant City Manager Bill Studer to serve as the acting manager while they search for a replacement.
So I heard with all the rain that's going on, there was a little surprise that happened yesterday.
You're going to want to check this out. Amanda's next with our first look at weather.
A beautiful sight indeed. Now I'll get out of the way just so you can see how stunning this is. This picture was taken yesterday and posted on the Community Watch page. It is absolutely beautiful. A vibrant double rainbow filled our sky yesterday after an ugly day of rain. And you know, it was Earth Day yesterday, and what a beautiful sight to fill our sky in celebration. But unfortunately, no pot of gold was found. Better luck next time, hopefully. Taking a look at our current conditions in New Mexico, we're still seeing those cloudy skies, 74 as our current temp, seeing some winds at 10 miles per hour from the east, humidity at 26%, our dew point at 39 degrees. Our barometer sits at 29.79 inches. Today's high was 75, a little bit below our average of 81, our low of 50 tonight. We saw a record high in 1965 of 93 degrees, a record low in 1968 of 35. We saw no rain today, but the rain yesterday pushed us up to 0.75 for our yearly rainfall. I'll be back later to talk your national forecast, but for now, more news.
Water experts from U.S.-Mexico border region are convening for Two Nations, One Water Summit in 2019.
It started today at the New Mexico Farm and Ranch Heritage Museum. This convention will build relationships, exchange ideas, and explore adaptive water strategies for managing the drought. They will explore desalination, water reuse, and other innovative water strategies. Panelists include Representative Xochitl Torres Small and New Mexico State Engineer John D'Antonio. The conference will end on Thursday.
5 Democratic presidential candidates took the stage Monday night to make their case to voters.
CNN's MJ Lee reports.
5 leading Democratic presidential candidates battling it out in a town hall marathon in New Hampshire. Their one major goal:
to become president of the United States.
The presidential hopefuls split on the question of impeaching President Trump, exposing the divisions within the Democratic Party about the path forward after the Mueller report. Senator Kamala Harris joining those pushing for impeaching Trump.
I think we have very good reason to believe that there is an investigation that has been conducted which has produced evidence that tells us that this president and his administration engaged in obstruction of justice. I believe Congress should take the steps towards impeachment.
Senator Elizabeth Warren intensified her call to impeach, pushing back against top Democrats like House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who say it isn't the appropriate time to move forward with proceedings.
If any other human being in this country had done what's documented in the Mueller report, they would be arrested and put in jail.
Other candidates more cautious.
For the next year, year and a half, going right into the heart of the election, all that the Congress is talking about is impeaching Trump and Trump and Mueller. What I worry about is that works to Trump's advantage.
The impeachment proceedings are up to the House. They're going to have to make that decision.
I think he's made it pretty clear that he deserves impeachment. But I'm also going to leave it to the House and Senate to figure that out.
Another big topic, education. Warren explained how she would pay for her ambitious education reform program, including a student loan relief plan, eliminating up to $50,000 in student loan debt in households earning less than $100,000 a year, and free public college tuition, all at a price tag of $1.25 trillion over 10 years.
If we put that 2-cent wealth tax in place on the 75,000 largest fortunes in this country, 2 cents, we can do universal child care for every baby 0 to 5, universal pre-K, universal college, and knock back the student loan debt burden for 95% of our students and still have nearly $1 trillion left over.
But not all Democrats are backing Warren's proposal. Senator Amy Klobuchar calling the overhaul unrealistic.
I wish I could staple a free college diploma under every one of your chairs. I do. Don't look. It's not there. I wish I could do that, but I have to be straight with you and tell you the truth.
Senator Bernie Sanders making headlines answering this question.
You have said that you believe that people with felony records should be allowed to vote while in prison. Does this mean that you would support enfranchising people like the Boston Marathon bomber?
I think the right to vote is inherent to our democracy. Yes, even for terrible people.
Harris responding to Sanders.
I think we should have that conversation.
But Mayor Pete Buttigieg disagrees.
While incarcerated?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
That was MJ Lee reporting.
Stay tuned. Mandy will be back with your national forecast.
But first, how this troublesome virus is still impacting people this late in the year. More on that when News 22 continues.
They were the giants who made American air power the best in the world. They went where others feared to tread.
Listen, the Eagle has landed.
They risked everything they had for their country. They were all remarkable patriots, and they were all legends of air power. The stories are timeless, and the legends live on.
Saturday morning at 9.
Hi, I'm Susan Brubaker-Knapp, and this season of Quilting Arts sizzles with excitement. We're creating a firework display of color and design that explodes onto the quilting landscape. We're here to blow up the rules and change the way you look at contemporary quilting. Join me and today's favorite quilt artists as we fan the fire of creativity with Quilting Arts.
Wednesday at 2 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
Welcome back. You're watching News 22 Tuesday,
where news matters. You may not believe it, but we are still in the grips of an active flu season.
Yes, that's serious. In today's Health Minute, Meredith Wood explains.
There have been 21 straight weeks of elevated flu season in the U.S., making the current 2018-2019 flu season the longest in 10 years. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the previous record high was 20 weeks during the 2014-2015 season. Still, there is some good news. The number of states reporting widespread influenza declined by almost half during the week of April 13th, compared to the week before. And according to the CDC, this flu season was considered moderate in terms of severity. A positive change for the medical community after last year's flu season, which was one of the most severe. Doctors say the most important and effective way to fight the flu each year is still the flu vaccine. The CDC recommends everyone 6 months and older get vaccinated. For today's Health Minute, I'm Meredith Wood.
There may be a reason behind calling breakfast the most important meal of the day. Researchers found that skipping breakfast could be linked to higher risk of cardiovascular-related death. A study published in the Journal of American College of Cardiology found those who never ate breakfast had an 87% higher risk of heart disease and stroke. The survey looked at data from 1988 to 1994 on more than 6,500 adults aged 40 to 75. Walgreens is cracking down on underage tobacco users. They will no longer be selling tobacco products to anyone under the age of 21. The retail giant has been under fire by the Food and Drug Administration for selling more tobacco to minors than any other pharmacy chain. Walgreens is hoping that the new policy will reduce tobacco use with minors. The policy will go into effect September 1st.
The man accused of driving drunk and crashing into another driver, killing him last month, had a run-in with officers just a few weeks earlier.
Marissa Lucero reports.
I don't want to be arrested. You're under arrest.
In February, when he was pulled over on Coors, Joshua Applegate told officers he only had one shot.
Sorry about that. I know I was speeding.
Oh, that's
Speeding?
You're going 75 and a 45.
When the second officer arrived, Applegate told him he was speeding because he was running late to pick up his girlfriend.
I just left a friend's house, I promise you.
Then the officer asked Applegate to step out of his car to make sure he was okay to drive.
I want to make sure that I'm safe to drive too. I only have one shot.
During field sobriety tests, following instructions proved pretty difficult for the 23-year-old.
When you get to your ninth step, leave your front foot in place. Step out with your back foot, take small steps, turn around.
When it was his turn, Applegate walked backward instead. Minutes later, he was arrested and charged with DWI. But it only took a month before Applegate wound up in trouble again. Police say he hit and killed another driver near Unser and McMahon last month. Yesterday, he was charged with vehicular homicide while driving under the influence. During his first arrest, back at the prisoner transport center, all Applegate could think about was getting out of jail.
I should be able to have a bail within like 5 seconds, right?
No.
As soon as I get booked in, I should have a bail, right?
Yep, and you haven't been booked in, so.
Marissa Lucero, KRQE, News 13.
So I don't know about viewers at home, but we just heard some crazy thunder right now.
We did, and Amanda is up next with your national forecast.
Yeah, that thunder definitely made me jump, but the rain that we might be seeing right now is nothing compared to what the rest of Texas is seeing. As you'll see here in my first map, much of central Texas is getting a storm tonight, San Angelo and Midland, under severe thunderstorm warnings, which indicates high winds and lots of rain. Here in my second map, you'll see into Tuesday night, this dark red indicating possible severe weather. 3 to 10 inches could be expected into tonight with this storm. As you'll see, our area is right on the edge, so we're we're not getting any of that severe weather, thankfully. And here on my final map, our forecast across the country for Thursday. That storm pretty much out of Texas, making its way into New Orleans for the weekend. And we'll be back to seeing those sunny skies for our Thursday. That's all I have for your national forecast. I'll be right back to talk our local conditions.
Morning Edition, weekdays from 5 to 9 on 90.7 FM and streaming live on KRWG.org.
On Breakthrough, the airplane fulfilled one of mankind's biggest dreams.
This is the one that they figured out how to fly on.
Explore the unbelievable revolutions
He had an idea that would transform flight.
that took mankind to the skies.
Wednesday at 9 p.m.
Welcome to International Jazz Day, St. Petersburg.
Friday at 9 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
Let's take a look at our conditions across New Mexico right now. In Farmington at 58 degrees, Santa Fe a bit colder at 47, Albuquerque you're looking at 58, Clovis at 52, Roswell at 62, here in Las Cruces 74 with that thunder that I hope you guys are hearing because it's scaring us just as much as it's scaring you guys, and Deming at 66. Tomorrow we're looking at 75 in Farmington, 63 in Santa Fe, 59 in Ruidoso, a bit cooler, Roswell at 74, and Las Cruces at 77, Deming at 77 as well. In TRC, we're looking at a low tonight with cloudy skies at 49 degrees. Tomorrow, a high with clear skies at 78. In Silver City, clear skies tonight for your low at 39. Tomorrow, you'll be seeing some rain with a high of 70. And here at home, Las Cruces, we're looking at partly cloudy skies tonight at 50 degrees. Tomorrow, we'll be looking at a high with partly cloudy skies at 77. That's all I have for your New Mexico conditions. I'll be back later to talk your 5-day forecast, but for now, more news.
The Animal Service Center of Mesilla Valley is that much closer to getting no-kill status.
The center reports 93% of animals that went through their facility have come out alive in the month of March. To become a no-kill shelter, it must release at least 90% of animals alive. The shelter's director, Clinton Thacker, says they've reached no-kill status once or twice, but 92% sets the bar at a new high.
A local artist is keeping an ancient trade alive and taking it to the next level.
News 22's Olivia Belcher met this artist.
Meet Hopper Shannon, a self-taught blacksmith who has been manipulating hot metal into works of art for 30 years. Hopper's interest in blacksmithing sparked when he broke his back for the 3rd time. Even though doctors said he wasn't going to walk well, he would not accept a sedentary lifestyle.
So it kind of just put my head in a place to where I said, hey, stand up and do it.
And that's exactly what he did. After his wife showed him some articles on Spanish colonial blacksmithing, he began teaching himself the ins and outs.
He's a good friend of mine for many years. He's been a blacksmith probably over 50 years, and I've never had a lesson from him. He told me he didn't want to teach me. He said, you are learning in a way that the first guy learned it, and he says, and I don't know how you're doing it, but you're doing it very good. So
blacksmithing is Hopper's full-time job. He says it is the 3rd most dangerous job he has ever had after working construction and fighting in Vietnam.
This is the closest to an inside job I've ever had. But I'm still standing on dirt, which is good for an old man's feet.
Hopper makes anything from cooking pans to letter openers like this one and sells them at the Las Cruces Farmers Market. But he says special orders are his favorite.
Just whatever anybody needs, if I'm able to do it, I'll get out there and do it.
Although blacksmithing isn't the most popular trade, Hopper says it is still something beneficial to learn.
Blacksmithing is just one good thing to be doing, anybody really. It teaches you a lot of self-motivation. It's taught me that you can't just sit down and quit, that you have to do it. You got to do something.
And he doesn't plan on putting his hammer down for good anytime soon. Olivia Belcher, News 22.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So I heard that the women's basketball team gained 2 new assets for the next year.
Let's hope that's help them out next season. Kristen Mistretta is next to sports.
Thanks, Gabe and Alyssa. Coming up in sports, find out if the NMSU women's golf team won the WAC championship. We'll be right back with News 22 Sports.
There are artists everywhere. All you have to do is look.
Take an unforgettable journey to find artists redefining the American aesthetic.
This has the power to protect your imagination.
Our idea was to go into all of the communities that make the United States what it is. And what we found was amazing.
Friday at 8 p.m.
Coming up on Austin City Limits.
Comedy. Now that's what I call pure comedy. Red, white, and blue.
Saturday at 9 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
This is KRWG-TV News 22 Sports.
Welcome back. It's time to kick it with Kristen. The NMSU women's golf team is celebrating another WAC championship victory. This is their 5th win in 6 years. The Aggies tied with Seattle U with a team score of 885, but then defeated the Redhawks in a playoff. NMSU is now waiting to find out where they will play in the NCAA Golf Regional. The NCAA selection show will be tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. on the Golf Channel. The New Mexico State women's basketball team will be adding 2 new players to their 2019-2020 roster. Head coach Brooke Atkinson announced they will be adding 2 junior college transfers, Amanda Sokertvist and Mike Gray. Amanda is from Odessa College and averaged 7 points per game, while Mike is from Independence Community College and averaged 9.6 points per game. The Aggies are excited to have these new additions and can't wait to see what they bring to the table. The Aggies are currently facing off in a midweek matchup. They are playing Sul Ross State and started off strong with 5 runs in the first inning and 7 in the second. We will have the final score of today's game in tomorrow's newscast. The NMSU softball team is currently facing off against the UNM Lobos in Albuquerque, and we will also have the final score of that game for you tomorrow. But looking back to this past weekend, the Aggies split a doubleheader with GCU. In the first game, the Lopes defeated the Aggies 6-4, but in the second game, the Aggies were able to defeat the Lopes 4-0. NMSU is now 23-19 overall, and their next game will be against Kansas City on Friday here in Las Cruces. And that's all for sports tonight. Join us for more sports action tomorrow. Still ahead on News 22, Mandy will be back to take a look at your 5-day forecast. But first, Easter had more than bunnies and chocolate for these firefighters in California. More on that when News 22 continues.
This is the story of how butterflies became one of the great wonders of the world. Masters of deception and seduction, they're indispensable to much of life on Earth. How did these delicate but enduring heroes come to be?
Wednesday at 7 p.m.
It's a wonder of the world, but now it's vanishing.
What happened to the Dead Sea is a man-made disaster.
Can scientists engineer a solution before it's too late?
We don't have time. We need water.
Saving the Dead Sea on Nova.
Wednesday at 8 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
This week on Central Texas Gardener, explore drought-tough lessons from Texas to California. Flora Grubb pinpoints the concepts she brought from Texas when she launched Flora Grubb Gardens in San Francisco. On tour, a small courtyard makeover pulled together plant and structural design. Daphne answers your top question, and Zach Halfin picks the right tools for fruit tree pruning. So let's get growing.
Saturday at 2 p.m. on KRWG-Public Media.
Let's take a look at our top stories. Members of the United Constitutional Patriots at the U.S.-Mexico border are looking for another place to camp. They are at the border to help Border Patrol with the influx of migrants. Police told them they have to leave because they're trespassing on Union Pacific Railroad. We are still in flu season. There may have been 21 straight weeks of it, and it's the longest in 10 years. The good news, though, is that there is a decline in reports of the flu across the United States. And finally, Hopper Shannon is a self-taught blacksmith. He's from Hatch, New Mexico, and he's been in the business for over 30 years, despite doctors telling him he wouldn't be able to walk.
A clutch of eggs is usually what you see on Easter Sunday, but for these firefighters in California, they received something a little more noisy. Firefighters in Alameda County Fire Department stumbled upon 10 ducklings stuck in a storm drain in need of rescue. The video posted on the department's social media page shows how the crew rescued the brood of ducklings while their worried mother was watching from afar. The ducklings were put into a cardboard box and transported to a nearby pond with their mother. National Drug Take-Back Day will be held Saturday, April 27th at different locations around Doña Ana County. You can rid your home of potentially dangerous, expired, unused, or unwanted prescription drugs. At last year's Drug Take-Back Day, over 3,000 pounds of medication were collected from southern New Mexico, with the majority of medications disposed from Las Cruces. Liquids, needles, and sharps will not be accepted, only pills and patches. The service is free and anonymous.
So that weather outside is getting pretty intense, it seems like.
It seems, and it sounds really bad out there.
It does, it sounds really loud, and we actually just got a report that we're seeing some pea-sized hail, which is kind of scary, but I love the rain. We need the rain, right?
Same here, same here.
That snow, man.
And for the next 5 days, we're going to be in the upper 70s tomorrow, but we're going to heat on up. Friday, we're going to see 91, Saturday 92, Sunday 91 as well. So we're definitely going to get through this rain, and then we're going to see sunny skies for the majority of the week.
So no more rain, no more hail.
I don't think so, but you never know, right? I didn't expect this. So you never really know.
And don't forget, you can still catch all of today's aired stories and past newscasts on our YouTube page at youtube.com/KRWG News 22.
And follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat for show updates and the latest on what the News 22 team is up to. And that's all for News 22 Tuesday. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight.
Tune in tomorrow for more news from across the Southwest. I'm Melissa Tays.
I'm Gabriel Chavez.
And I'm Amanda Adamet. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
This news brief in Español is brought to you by Noticias 22, Spanish language news for southern New Mexico and West Texas. Noticias 22.
Bienvenidos a este breve informativo de Noticias 22, con ustedes, Diana Castillo. Miembros de la milicia en la frontera de México y los Estados Unidos, cerca de Sunland Park, dicen que no van a evacuar su campamento. La policía les ordenó que se fueran porque estaban traspasando en la tierra del ferrocarril de Union Pacific. Ellos se identifican como los Patriotas Unidos Constitucionales y dicen que han venido a ayudar a la patrulla fronteriza a controlar la afluencia de los migrantes. Los miembros de este grupo dicen que quieren quedarse en su campamento, pero van a buscar otro lugar para acampar y para monitorear la región de los migrantes que desean venir. Un hombre sospechoso de un tiroteo en el día de Pascua está tras las rejas. El hombre de 18 años, Jaime Armendariz, es acusado de asalto agravado. El domingo por la tarde, policía de Las Cruces fue enviada al Parque Apodaca, donde encontraron a un hombre de 19 años con una herida de bala. Fue trasladado al hospital Mountain View con lesiones que no amenazan su vida. La policía nos dice que el sospechoso y el hermano de la víctima tenían problemas. Los dos hermanos estaban con su familia en el parque cuando vieron a Armendariz. Armendariz y el hermano se intercambiaron palabras antes de empezar una pelea física. Armendariz está en el centro de detención de Doña Ana sin fianza. Para Noticias 22, Diana Castillo.